Hi, hello, yogis. We're going to do an animal flow class today. If you don't know what that is, it's a combination between calisthenics, breakdancing, and a yoga class. So it's going to be a strong class, and it's really, really good for if you want to create some strength and stabilization through your shoulders. But it is quite intense, so take it easy. If you need to have a break, do. But enjoy it, and hopefully you'll learn some new movements. And we're going to get started at the back of our mats in a balasana, so a wide knee pose. So come to the back of your mat and bring your knees out wide and bring your toes to touch and sink your hips to your heels. Keep your spine straight to begin with, and then spider walk your hands forward. So there will be some elements of yoga in this class in amongst a lot of the flow sequence, but that's to give you really some rest periods throughout the class. So take your hands out far towards the top of your mat, roll the shoulders back and rest the forehead on the ground to start, and ground yourself. Find your breath in this first few moments. Take a big inhale into your back body, and then an exhale all the way down the spine towards your hips, sinking hips to heels, relaxing shoulders, and bringing more pressure to the forehead. Keeping soft through the arms. Nice long inhale up the spine, and exhale down towards the hips. Keep relaxing the shoulders and sinking hips to heels. And the longer you are here, the more your hips are going to sink towards the heels. Keep relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Big belly breaths. Take one more longer inhale into the back of the rib cage. One longer exhale towards the hips. And on the next inhale, look towards your hands. Keep your hips where they are and walk your hands to the left until you feel a gentle stretch down the right side of the body, keeping those hips connected to the heels. Then from here, we're going to make it a little bit more active. So take the right hand and interlace the fingers through the left knuckles. And it's a push-pull action. So I want you to pull with the right arm and push with the left arm, creating a sensation in the right side body. And then tilt the upper torso to the right, and then sit the hips back to the heels. You can rest the head, or you can keep the head active. And you should feel a little opening just below the shoulder blade, all the way through the lats. And use your breath here. Try not to forget to breathe. Nice long inhale. Nice long exhale. Keeping those hips pulling down towards your heels. Your arms at this point are super active. There's no passivity. You're really continually pushing with that left hand and pulling with that right arm. The interlace is strong. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. And on the 1, gently come out of that slight tilt of the upper torso. Take the right arm out from the left and walk your hands to the opposite side, keeping those hips down on the heels. Try not to let them rise. And then until you feel that gentle stretch on the left hip, and then soften a little bit through the hips. Take the left hand and interlace it through the right. Again, push-pull action. So you push with the right hand as if you're pushing away from your center line, and then the left arm is pulling back into the body. Tilt the upper torso to the left, and then it goes straight into that left lat, and get a nice opening through the shoulders. We want to keep our shoulders nice and warm because we're going to need them a lot. So keep the hips to the heels. Take your breath. Nice long inhale up the spine. Nice long exhale towards the hips. Softening through the shoulders. Even though your grip is still very strong, your arms are very active, and there's a constant pulling sensation through the left side. Keep breathing nice consistently. Every time you take an exhale, use it as an opportunity to lower the hips lower. One more big inhale into the back body. One more big exhale towards the hips. And then neutralize the spine, the upper toe. So take the left hand off the right hand, walk back to center, and then rise through the hips. Bring the knees a little closer together so the knees are stacked underneath the hips and the shoulders are stacked on top of the wrists. Just a normal conventional tabletop. We're going to warm up our wrists, okay? You might need to do this more than once through the sequence because I understand you're going to be on them a lot. So just take a little lean so the shoulders come out of alignment with the wrist and drop the hips a little forward. You'll feel a bit of a crunching sensation through the wrist. And come back hips to heels. So you're going to do that 3 to 5 times, depending on how much you feel you need to look after your wrists in this first part. Moving nice and slow, keeping the belly active, pelvis forward, hips down. Use your inhale as you come forward, and use your exhale as you come back. One more like this. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly bringing shoulders back on top of wrists. Bring the wrists together, fingers facing outwardly, and just start circling clockwise, anti-clockwise, using the hips to guide the movement. Clockwise 3 to 4 times. And then the opposite direction. Nice. Noticing where you have a little bit of tension, maybe just hover over that little section that you feel is a little more niggly than the others. And then take your hands so the fingers face towards you and lean a little back through those hips. Try to keep the palms on the ground. Try not to raise them off the ground, stretching the front part of the wrist. Maybe hold it for 5 breaths. And although it might seem that we're taking a long time on the wrists, believe me, it's really important. Otherwise, I don't want you walking away with an injured wrist. And then bring it back. This is the hardest one. Bring it neutral hands and then turn the palms so you're on the back of the hand. Seems alright so far, except you have to try and straighten the arms and then lean back. And some people are going to find this very easy, not many. And the majority of you are going to find it quite a strong sensation because we don't really use this part of our hand that much. Try to keep the chest elevated, the belly strong, and the hips just pulsing to the back wall and pushing against the back of the hand to really get that stretch that you need. And when you can't bear it anymore, just come out of it. Alright, so now here we go. Get ready. Get your knees a little underneath your hips. Make sure they haven't gone a little bit to the wayside. Curl your toes under. We're going to move into our first animal floor movement. This is the alignment in animal floor is really, really important. This is so we don't end up with injuries, okay? So really make sure that your shoulders are stacked on top of your wrists and you need your knuckles pressing down. Why? Because those are the things that are going to really make sure your shoulders are strong and stable. So press the knuckles down. Pull the belly in. And rise the knees off the floor. So we just did this movement when we were warming up our wrists. But to do a beast unload, we're now in a static beast. We're going to move the hips forward without the knees touching the ground. So just move nice and slow, using your inhale and exhale. Very small movement. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Okay, easy. Now from here, you have to be strong through your belly and think about contraction through your shoulders. You'll notice as I do this, I'm contracting through my upper back a little bit more to make sure that I'm not going to lose the balance. We're going to take our left hand and our right foot off the floor just momentarily. And hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop it down. Other side. Stabilize the left shoulder, protract through the upper back, keep that right knee not too high off the ground, and take it to the other side. You'll find one side is a bit weaker. This is my weaker side for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Oh my word. And then lift the hips up. 3/4 bend through the knees as we move into your wave unload, okay? So we're almost in a downward dog, except the heels are high, and you're going to push through the back body and roll shoulders over wrists.
Keep that protraction through the upper back until your shoulders go past your wrists. Drop your hips down
and come into something similar to a cobra pose, chin away from chest, opening up the chest. And then on the way back, keep your knees just a couple of inches off the ground and slide back, hips to heels.
Find your breath again. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale, hips up. Push into the back body, chin to chest at this point, shoulders over wrists. Drop the hips.
And open the chest. Looking forward, changing the gaze. Hips back to heels, hover.
Exhale. Inhale, hips up. Shoulders over wrists. Chin to chest. As soon as your shoulders pass your wrist, chin comes away from chest, chest comes through.
Pinching scapula together. Really find an opening through the chest region. And then exhale, hips to heels.
Now already you might be feeling tight, so if you are, you can always bring your knees to the floor for a moment. Inhale, hips up. Shoulders over wrists. Chin away from chest.
Drop the hips, pinch the scapula. Try to really press through the hands to open up that front body. Exhale, hips to heels.
And then come back to your static beast and bring your hands underneath your shoulders one more time. We're going to go for a little walk up your mat. So we want to take this counterlateral movement a little further than we did just before, lifting counterlaterally off the floor. I need you to take your right hand and your left knee forwards. So your left knee is going to come towards your left wrist as you come forwards. 1. Left hand comes forward, right knee to right wrist. 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. Take it back. 1. And 2. And 3. Just hover in the middle here, keeping that protraction through the upper back, shoulders on top of wrists. Now drop the knees down. Give yourself a little rest. Extend the right arm forwards. Extend the left leg backwards. Flex the back heel. Keep the right fingertips extending forwards. And I want you to contract your left glute. Keep your belly tight as you pulse the left heel to the ceiling for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. And on the 1, bend the back knee and just flex the foot still and pulse the left knee to the ceiling for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Keep it up there and take your right hand all the way back and grab the ankle from the inside. Make sure you haven't lost that stacking sensation on the left shoulder over the wrist, and kick the foot into the hand and take the weight backwards, so you're opening up the shoulder of the right arm. Keep that foot flexed for 5. Change the gaze forward. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release and drop it back down to a tabletop. Again, option to take a child's pose or balasana at this point. I know it's a lot of holds. Left arm reaches up. Right arm reaches back. Extend and flex the back foot. Make sure the back line of that leg is active. The glute is contracted. The belly is tight as you pulse up to the ceiling with the heel for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee, flex the foot, pulse the knee to the ceiling. 5. Contract the glute. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the left hand behind and grab the inside of the left heel and push the foot into the hand and open up the shoulder. Change the gaze. Opening up the front side of the left shoulder, keeping that foot flexed, and you're kicking directly backwards, not upwards, backwards. For 5. Think about your right shoulder being strong and stable. Contract it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the right knee down. Take a child's pose for a moment, hips to heels. Rest and breathe. Take a nice long inhale. Nice long exhale. Softening through the arms. Catching your breath if you've lost it. 2 to 3 breaths here. Preparing for our next little flow. And the next inhale, rise up. Back into your static beast. Get the shoulders underneath the wrists. Curl the toes under. And then push yourself up into your static beast. We're going to take it into an under switch, which is another little movement to get in and out of the other poses of animal flow. So I want you to take your left hand off the floor and needle thread your right foot through the left until you find yourself the other way around and drop the left hand to the ground. We're going slow to begin with. And as you do that, keep the chest elevated. And then you're going to needle thread that right foot back underneath the left. You got to stabilize this right shoulder as you twist and swivel on that right hand and bring it back to static beast. Readdress your alignment. There's a tendency in all of these poses to come backwards. Keep it stacked. And I'm guilty of it too, so don't worry. So lay needle thread the left leg underneath the right. At the same time, you want to keep your belly engaged. Keep it strong. And then swivel on that right heel. Lift the chest as you turn. Drop the right hand down. Find the elevation through the chest. And then needle thread that left leg right back underneath the right. And back into static beast. You can drop the knees for a moment. Okay, so that's a simple. If you feel your wrists are getting tired, shake them out. Do some of the movements we did at the beginning of the class. And make sure that they are healthy. All right, from here, coming back to your static beast, I want you to sink your hips to the heels and then move into traveling ape. So traveling ape, I need you to get your hips high. And it's a bit like if you've done an Ashtanga practice or something of this sort, you might have to jump forwards or jump backwards. Same thing. To help you in this pose, I'm just going to ask you to try and think about clapping your feet together. As you focus on that, you're not going to think about your hips or the fact that you're trying to jump into the air so much. So jump up high and jump your feet forwards towards your hands, all the way up. And that's as much as it is. Now, normally we're going to go move forwards, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to do one. And then you're going to do it all the way back. So bend through the knees, bring weight to the hands. Pull the belly in and contract the belly muscles as you bring the weight forward. And jump up. And then jump back down. Really nice. Return to your static beast. Protracting to the upper back. Shoulders underneath wrists. Hips level with knees. Arching always through the upper body. So we're going to go for that under switch one more time. You're going to take that right leg, needle thread it to the left, and take the left hand off the floor. This time we're going to stay in the reverse position. So this reverse position is all about chest elevation. Static crab. Lift the chest. That's it. Static crab. Okay. Lift the chest. And make sure the heels are pressing down. You want to make sure that you're not, again, I'm guilty of this too, is leaning this way or leaning too far this way. This means our joints aren't stacked and we're not building that stability through the shoulders as much as we like. So try and keep the hips close to the wrists. And this is where we're at. You might want to just hold it here and get used to that little pose. We're going to do our traveling crab in a moment, so take an inhale. Take an exhale and step counterlaterally. So you're taking the heel of the foot and the fingertips of the hand and you're pressing them down to the floor. Same thing with this one. Now as you move, you're going to lose those hips. Let's try and keep them close to the wrist. Heel, fingertips, drop. Heel, fingertips, drop. Heel, fingertips, drop. And then just level your feet, level your hands with the bottom of the mat. Readdress your static crab. Lift the chest, stabilize the shoulders, pull the belly in. We're going to go backwards. This time it's the tippy toe and the heel of the palm. So imagine your hand is a foot right now, and that's the heel of the foot. And you're going to press into it. Tippy toe, heel of hand. Drop it down. I'm moving super slow so you can see the movement. I know that makes it a little bit more challenging, but it also makes you understand it, because it can be a bit confusing when you're not used to it. And even now, I still get those wrong. So the tippy toe and the heel. And then neutralize the pose. Once you get to about center or towards the top of your mat, re-stabilize the static crab. Re-stack the shoulder, wrist, and elbow. And now we're going to go for a crab reach. So keeping strong through the belly, press through the right hand and bring the left hand to center. And all you're going to do is lift the hips up. And as you lift the hips up, you're going to drop the gaze down to the right hand. So you're going to look towards the right hand and imagine there's a thread on your fingertips pulling down towards the right fingertips. Notice this shoulder is stacked also. Lift the hips high and then exhale. Come back down. Come back to your static crab. Right hand to center. Push to the left palm. Rise the hips up. And then look towards the left hand. Make your right fingertips active. Look towards the left hand. Exhale. Come back down. We're going to do 2 more on either side. Try and keep it as fluid as possible. Each time getting used to coming back to your static crab. Take an inhalation, left hand to center, rise the hips up, and come change the gaze. Exhale, come back down, right hand to center, inhale, hips up, looking towards the left hand. Exhale, come down. Last one, left hand to center, inhale, hips up, look towards the right hand, exhale, hips down. Last one, right hand to center. Inhale, hips up. Look towards the left hand. Hold here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and all the way down. 1. Re-stabilize the shoulders. Re-push the hips towards the wrists. Find your static crab. We're going to do an under switch and back towards the static beast. So, as before, you're going to needle thread your right foot underneath your left leg, and you're going to stabilize through that right arm and come all the way back. Heel comes off the floor of the back leg, and here we are again in static beast, finding that arch through the spine. Okay, I hope you're still with me. We're going to take the right leg and we're going to kick it to the left. For fun, for the side kick. You're going to drop the left heel, and you're going to kick the left leg out, point the toes, fingertips go to the side of the face as the elbow points backwards. You elevate through the chest and stabilize through the right shoulder. Come back to center, needle thread backwards, and back to your static beast, arching through the upper body. And then same thing on the left, on the opposite side, the right side. Needle thread the left foot, drop the right heel, point and shoot to the opposite side. Fingertips towards the ear, elbow pulling backwards, chest elevate. Exhale, back to center. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times. So if you need a rest, again, good opportunity to take a quick child's pose here. We're going to move a little faster. Right foot, needle threads through left, point toes and shoot. Notice where you are. If you're here and the hips are further back, make sure they come towards the wrist. And back to center. Stabilize and arch through the spine. Left leg needle threads, point and shoot. Readdress your hips and come back to center. Last one. Stay strong. Right leg through. And come back to center. Left leg through. And come back to center. Sink your hips to your heels. You can keep the heels slightly off the ground. That's okay. Take your knees wide. This is a nice pose after that. Whew. Get a nice bit of lumbar extension. Bring your hands into Namaskar. Point your fingertips. Drop your head. And try to work your hips towards your heels. That's where you're going to get that nice sensation in the lower back. So believe it or not, this is actually a pose in animal flow, a preach. So keep stretching your fingertips forward as you pull your hips backwards. We're stretching through the spine here by building a traction. Find your breath as well, because I'm sure that you're probably breathing quite heavily after those movements. Take an inhale. Rise up with the hands and separate the palms and lift the chest up. Balancing on the tippy toes. Exhale, chin to chest. And arch through the spine again. We're going to do 5 of these. Inhale, chest lifted. Stretch the fingertips to either side of your space. You can even pull your knees out a little bit further. Exhale, chin to chest, arch through the spine. Inhale, open up. Exhale, down. 2 more. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, down. So I'm changing the gaze each time. I'm looking down and then I'm looking up. Gaze is important. It will help you direct the movement. So change your gaze and reach your fingertips. Really be active through those arms. Open up the chest more. Exhale. Arch the spine. I like that so much. We're going to do 1 more. We're going to hold it in both parts of the pose. So on the inhale, lift the chest up, pinch the scapula together, reach your fingertips to either side, open the knees wider, keep thinking or focusing on the chest lift, and hold for 5. Change your gaze forwards. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, chin to chest. Change the gaze down and again reach a little bit further forward with the hands. Chin to chest, hips pulling down. You want to feel that stretch through the spine. All the way. Hold for 5. Hold for 4. Hold for 3. Hold for 2. Hold for 1. And drop the palms to the ground. Bring yourself back up into a static beast. Ooh, we made it. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit more advanced. We've done some of the movements already, but we're going to combine them. Okay, so we're going to do a levitation, which is that little bit like the tuck leap that we did at the front of the traveling ape. And we're going to do the kick through. So we're going to take that right leg and needle through the left, kick out. Now the difference here is we're going to make a little jump to the other side. So we're going to bring the left hand back down, lift through the hips and swap the legs over. Point the toes to the opposite side. Right hand comes down. Lift through the hips and swap the legs as you leap. So you bring the left hand down, the right foot comes down first. So you jump through and then you turn and twist. So you need a lot of shoulder strength in this one. So if you're not jumping so high, take a moment, bring your knees to the floor, hips to heels. If you're not jumping so high, don't worry. You're still building strength, and if you've never done animal flow before, it's a lot. It's a strong practice. So work on just getting the movement first, and then building that shoulder strength, and more importantly, that confidence to come forward. It's a bit like learning a handstand, that movement. And the two actually will go really nicely together if you're trying to learn how to do handstands as well. So, and then, all right, so let's try it a couple of times more. Bring it into your tabletop or static beast with the knees hovering off the ground. Are you ready? Let's go. Right leg, needle threads through. Shoot. Lift. Inhale. 3 towards the top of the spine. Exhale. Hips to heels. When you're ready, you can stay here a little longer if you want. Rise through the hips again. And we're going to move into a little bit of a flow that you might be used to if you do yoga. So take it into a downward dog. Stretch those legs out. I know they've been in an L shape for quite a long time. So just bounce through those hips. Bounce through those knees. And then take your shoulders over your wrists. And if you are not quite strong enough in your plank, transition down to chaturanga. You don't have to do it. You can bring your knees to the floor. Otherwise, you're going to bend the elbows towards the hips and hover in a 90-degree L shape looking forwards. And then take your cobra, up dog. Pull the scapulas together, open the chest up. And then just drop the hips down for a moment, untuck the toes, take the feet wide. And at the moment, I know your shoulders are up towards your ears, so you need to activate through the palms a bit more. And again, we need to work into the shoulders. So we need to pull the scapulas together to open the front of the shoulder and pull the chest through, not just forwards, but upwards. And you're using your muscles in your arms. You're not just using your joints. So there's a little bend through the elbow. And you're really thinking, most importantly, about the knuckles pressing down. The reason we're doing this is to really think about what we perhaps were missing in terms of strength in those animal flow movements. It's your shoulder strength, which comes with your hands. So you need to have your hands, fingers, thumbs, knuckles, palms, all pressing into the ground. Hold for 5. Keep lifting the chest. Pull the belly in to support the lower back. 4, 3, lift the chest more. 2, relax your glutes. And 1. Rolling out and coming back into downward dog. Patting out those heels. Bring your left foot to center. Bring your right leg up. And bring your right leg out to the right side of your hand. And we're going to take it into a Cossack squat. So walk your hands to the left and drop. Turn your right foot to a 90-degree angle, facing the top of your mat if you're on a mat. And then bring the left toes off the floor. Now, for some of you who have tight hips, this might not be available. So you can always stay upright and balance on the fingertips. But if you have the capacity to go down into the hips, do that and find your full Cossack squat, lifting the chest up. Okay, so we're going to start with using the hands. So transition with the hands. Right heel comes slightly off the ground, go to the left and lift up. Right knee bends. As you sink, you lift through the chest. You inhale, rise, and you exhale, fall. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Now we got quite comfortable and our hips are nice and warm. No hands, no hands. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fall. Stay here. And if you're all the way down, I just want you to stretch your left arm to the top back left corner of your mat. Right arm reaches up. Stage 1 is here. Stage 2 is to take a bind around that knee and interlace the fingers, opening the chest. Again, if you're with tight hips, you can stay upright and just reach the hand to the left. As you reach up, you still get a stretch in the right places. Hold wherever you've chosen with an elevated open chest for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. No hands. Transition to the right. Stretch the right arm to right fingertips to the top right corner. Left arm reaches up. Stage 1. This is enough. You don't need to do the bind. It's not necessary to do the bind. But if you have that capacity to do it, interlace the fingers and open the chest up. Look up. Pull the belly in and hold for 5. Hold for 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Release. And swivel back to the front. And then bring the right foot back to the left, downward dog. Okay, so a simple yoga move. We're going to add on and make it more of an animal flow movement. So we're going to start simple like we did at the beginning. You're going to take your right leg up. You're going to bring your right knee towards your right elbow, and you're going to change the gaze. Now, the more strength you have, you're going to press through those hands and bring that right knee higher up the tricep. Exhale back. Left leg up, left knee to left elbow, look forwards. Pressing the hands, arch, exhale back. Right knee to right elbow or higher, and press through the hands. Exhale back. Left knee to left elbow, look forwards, and back. Okay, stage 1 is done. Stage 2 is a little more advanced. So all we're going to do is step your right leg to the outside of your right hand, and you're going to take your left leg and needle through the hands. You're going to come through, and you're going to stabilize your left shoulder and bring your right hand backwards. Point the toes to the front of your mat this time. And then you're going to lift the right heel and take the left foot back. Take the right foot back. Here we go again. So you can now come into a plank pose. Take that left leg through to the outside of the left hand. Remember, you're taking your right leg through the hands. You have to release the left hand to give yourself space to do that. All the way through. And remember, the most important thing is you're stable through the right arm, the right shoulder, and you come back. Alright, so we go a little faster in the second one. Remember, it's right foot comes to the outside of the right hand, and you needle thread the opposite leg. Right hand, left foot. And back. So you unneedle thread. You basically just reverse the movement you just did. Left leg to the outside of the left hand. Right leg through. And needle thread back. And back in to your static beast. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times. I'll give you a rest, knees to the floor. Untuck the toes. Child's pose. Maybe you don't need all this rest, but I'm just making sure that you're comfortable and you're doing these movements correctly. So if you want to keep moving and keep practicing, go for it. But right now, if you need a rest, take it. Inhale, hips up. We're going to do 2 more sets. I'm going to go a little faster now. Find the rhythm. Toes tuck under. Knees hover. Remember, right foot comes to the outside of the right hand first. Right foot, left foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, right foot, left foot. One more time. Right foot, left foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, right foot, left foot. Nice. Knees, toes, balasana. Okay. Right. Take a breath. Nice long inhale, nice long exhale. Prepare for the next movement. So there's not actually an official animal flow sequence, but there's lots of different movements that we can combine and build on. And this is a great practice, complementary practice to anything to do with bodyweight training, calisthenics, as I say, and a vinyasa practice or a yoga practice, because you're combining strength, stability, mobility, all at the same time. Take 1 more inhale, 1 more exhale. Inhale, rise the hips up. Okay. From here, we're going to add on. We're going to take a scorpion. We're going to do a half scorpion, a full scorpion. So a half scorpion, you're going to take your right leg up, just like Wild Thing in Vinyasa. Right leg comes up. You have to trust yourself a little bit on this one, because we're going to take the weight over to the right. We're not going to come into an arch. We're going to drop the whole body. So notice what's happening with your left arm. It doesn't want to come out of alignment. You keep all the way over that arm. You drop your right foot. down, full sole of foot to the ground, and you end up here. The left shoulder is still stacked over the left wrist. And then we're going to come back. So right hand comes down, right foot comes through, come back to your static beast. Let's do it on the left side. Left leg comes up, all the way through, all the way over. The weight shifts. You take your left hand off the floor, you drop your left foot to the ground, and you extend your right leg. Stabilize your right shoulder. Come back all the way through, and static beast. Do that once more, a little faster. Right leg up, and through. Back. And always come back to your static beast. Left leg up, and through. Left hand back, static beast. Okay, now we're going to do an under switch, if you remember what that was. We're going to under switch. Left hand comes off the floor, right leg needle threads through, back into your crab. So the main poses in the basic foundations of animal flow are beast and crab. You've been doing static beast a lot, and the reverse is crab. Okay, so the full scorpion starts in crab, and it's all about that needle threading again. So we're going to take the right foot, and I'm going to move slow first. We're going to go through and under the left leg. We're going to take the left hand off the floor, and we're going to place it next to the right hand. We're going to take the left heel off the floor and swivel on that foot. Take the right knee high, drop the right foot, and back to where we were in the half. Then you got to go back. So right hand comes down, needle thread. Remember, you're coming back to crab, not beast. Hips and heels close, and remember to set the crab. Keep those hips close to the wrists. Reach, lift the chest. Then let's do it on the other side. So left leg, needle threads through right. Right hand comes down. Left leg comes up, high. And then you've got to let go of the left hand as you swap and drop the left leg down. Here we are. Reverse it, left hand down. Left foot off the ground, needle thread back. Return to your crab pose. Lift the chest. All right, so we're going to do that again, a little bit faster. Right leg under, right leg over, right leg touch. Right hand, right foot, return to crab. Set the crab. Left leg under, right hand down, left leg up, left foot down, reverse. Left hand, left leg, left foot, set crab. Under switch, take your right foot under the left, just like you're about to do scorpion. Left hand comes down, back to static crab. Woo, that was good. Knees to flow, toes touch. Take a balasana, favorite pose. Drop the forehead down. Take an inhale, up the spine. You've always got the opportunity to direct your breath wherever you're feeling the most. But we're going to keep the spine as a source of energy. Exhale, down towards the hips, softening through the shoulders. And next inhale, rise up. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. We're almost there. Curl the toes under. And then walk your feet towards your hands and balance on the tippy toes. Squeeze the hips down towards the heels as the knees slightly rise. I want you to give yourself a little hug. Wrap your arms around. Squeeze your knees together. And you want to push into the back body. So really push into the back body now. And feel the opening through between the scapula. Because we've been working this area quite significantly. And we need to give it a little release. So really open up the back body and release any residual tension here. Keeping the balance. Forehead rests on the knees ideally. And slowly rise the head up. Bring the hands to the floor. Bring the knees to the floor. Pull the feet to the right side. Drop the hips down and extend the legs out. In front of you, lie down on your back. Head touches the floor. Savasana.
And the next 10 to 15 minutes, we're just going to do a little bit of a stretch, looking after our wrists again, cooling down, and making sure that we don't wake up tomorrow morning or whenever you've done this practice with a little bit of soreness, so especially your wrists and your shoulders. So take one more inhale into your chest, one more exhale to your belly. And bring your knees into your chest. So I want you to just gently rock the hips up and support the lower back. So you're going to use your elbows and press them into the floor and just lift your hips a little bit off the ground. Now for some of you, again, who have a very tight back line, this might be challenging and you might need a little bit more than what I just did in terms of momentum to get yourself up. But your hands are going to help you out a lot. You need to walk your hands a little bit up. If you're really struggling with this, just drop your knees to your forehead. That's okay. But for some of you who have more flexibility, you can drop the feet to the ground. So the reason we're doing this is to make sure that we soften and any of the fascia that's got a bit potentially knotted with all of that focus on stabilization through the shoulders. So just breathe into your belly. If you want more in this one, you can just walk your feet further to the back. And breathe into the compression that's happening at the top of the spine. This way or this way, toes pointing to the ceiling, using your hands as support, your choice. Breathe into the belly. Five more breaths. Internalize your breaths. Keep the top of the head reaching to the top of your mat to ensure that the spine that sits in the neck, the cervical spine, is nice and flat. And on your final breath, if you're in the full halasana, bend the knees and bring the knees to the forehead, and then drop your arms out like railway tracks behind you, and just use the strength of your arms to roll down the spine again, all the way down, nice and slow, nice and slow, nice and slow. And once your hips touch the floor, cross your ankles and do a little bump with the hips to rock forward and come into your plank, and then your downward dog. And from here we're just going to do a little jump forward, bending through the knees, take the hips up high and land light at the front. So we're going to work on our wrists just for one. Take your hands behind you and wedge the wrist at the back of the knee. So you want to actually make a compression, a blood compression on the wrists. So if you struggle with your malasana, your squat, you can always take the heels off the floor, that's okay. You can even bring the knees together if you want on this one. And you're going to make a compression. So if this is not comfortable, you can bring the feet together, just make a little gap, and you can raise the heels. Either or is good. So you want to see the hands, like jazz hands. Woo! Here and here. So that's not it, okay? That's the compression, but we want to actually feel something. So I want you to start moving your hands fast. And you'll find the longer you do this, the harder it gets, because you're losing the blood rush to the fingertips. And it starts heading a little bit. You can keep the chest as elevated as possible until the hands start slowing down. And then slowly lift the hips up and release and allow the blood to rush back into them. You'll get that kind of tingly warm sensation through the hands. And then walk your feet back
and either using your knees or slowing through the upper body down into a belly flat position. And take your right arm out to the side, bend your left arm, palm facing down underneath the left shoulder, bend your left leg and push through the left hand and roll over that right shoulder. You want to feel an opening through the front of the shoulder, and the left knee should be pointing up towards the ceiling. And you can relax the head. If you want a little bit more, you can take the left hand also behind and interlace the fingers and pull the scapula together and lift a little through the chest. And again, holding this for 30 seconds to a minute isn't more than enough just to find that nice opening. Finding 5 internal breaths is another way you can gauge it. And slowly bring your left hand back down. Guide your belly to the ground. Drop the left leg. Extend the left arm. Bend the right arm. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Bend the right leg. Push with the right hand. And allow the knee to come up towards the ceiling. Drop the right solid foot to the ground. Relax the head. If you really are struggling to get your right foot to the ground, it's not essential that the foot hits the ground. You can just keep the pressure on that left arm is the most important thing. And again, just lean a little back if you want more to. Or take the right hand and interlace it to the left and pinch the scapula together. And hold here for 5 internal breaths. And slowly release the interlace. If you have it, bring the right hand down and come back to center. Release the left arm. And going for a crossover of the arms, so stretch the right arm to the right, left arm to the right. Walk your hands to either side as far as you can. And then from here, inhale, lift through the head, and exhale. Drop the throat onto the left arm and allow the weight of the head, which is pretty heavy, to relax over that left arm. So you get a compression of the throat, and you need to allow your lower body to relax. Close your eyes down and feel that compression. Opening up the thoracic spine, but also touching the tendons and muscles in the arms. And then slowly unwind, sliding the arms back parallel to one another, the forearms, and then bring the right forearm ahead of the left forearm and do the same on the opposite side. Stretch the arms out to the sides. Try to keep the arms the same level as the top of the mat, but if you've got a lot of tension through this section of the body, that might be more challenging. Take an inhale, lift the head up. Exhale, drop the throat over the right arm. Keep relaxing the lower body. Keep it soft. And on the next inhale, slowly unwind.
Bring it to Sphinx pose, forearms facing one another, pointing forwards, and just press the forearms into the ground a little bit and bring the chest through the shoulders, pinching the scapula together a little bit. Belly is tight, chest is open. And then you could actually drop the head a little bit. Make it a little bit more passive through the neck, so you get a stretch down the spine. And then from here, I want you to bring your hands to press into the floor and lengthen through the arms. Lift the chin away from the chest. Push into the hands. Keep pinching the scapula together and opening the chest. Pull the belly in. Relax the glutes. Exhale, drop the forearms. Then bring the hands underneath the shoulders, dropping the chest down a little. Curl the toes under. Bring yourself up to a tabletop position. Last pose, or couple of poses. Take the hands as wide as the mat and just drop the chest. You don't have to touch the chest to the floor. You can make sure the hips are not too far forward or too far back, but right on top of the knees, and just drop the chest. And you want to think about the shoulders pulling away from one another to create space between the ear and the shoulder. And breathe into the belly. Depending on how tense your shoulders are, this can be quite uncomfortable. You can always take it wider or narrower if you want more. Take 5 to 10 breaths in here. Resting the chin or the forehead if you want. And then slowly rise up. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Come up to a downward dog. Cross your ankles and come to a seated position. And from here, grounding the sit bones. One last pose to open up the shoulders. Rest your right forearm down in front of you. Now, if that's too low and you struggle with your forward folds, use a block or some pillows here to elevate the arm, or put a block underneath your butt to help with the forward fold. From here, you're going to traction the right forearm and open up the chest to the left, and take your left arm behind you and just rest the back of the hand to the right side of the spine, or you can take the fingertips to the inside of the right thigh. It's going to feel uncomfortable on the front of the left shoulder, most likely because all of us have a natural curvature of the left shoulder. So try and just be content with where it is, and use your right forearm to open up the chest more for 5. For 4, you can relax the head if you want a gentle stretch through the neck. For 3. For 2, breathe strongly. And for 1, slowly release. Left fingertips to shoulder, just wind and draw circles forwards and backwards a couple of times. And again, you can always do this a little longer if you want, if you're feeling like you need it. Left forearm down, right arm up and back. Rest the back of the hand to the left side of the spine and use your left forearm to traction against the floor to open the chest up. Taking the front of the shoulder back, stretching the deltoids. Relax the neck as an option to get a little bit more through the neck. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Unwind. And again, right fingertips to the right shoulder, just circle through the right shoulder. And that's all that you need to know now for animal flow. Namaste.